Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the August 7th of 2018, our city show here. I was getting ready to say something, and I better say it quick before I forget. Happy birthday to our granddaughter, Hallie. Today she's 11, and welcome to the Muscatine City Hall. We're happy that you're joining us here as we're getting ready to visit with a couple of really nice guests that you're going to want to hear from. A couple of quick just agenda items I wanted to bring up for you. Just a heads up that Mississippi Drive is closed from Iowa to Chestnut from August 6th through the 8th. So today's the 7th. We're hoping that it's open right back up tomorrow. And secondly, all of you who have kids starting back up to school in a few weeks, if you haven't gotten their school supplies and you need assistance with that, please get out to Community Action of Eastern Iowa. I know they still have some stuff left and they'd be happy to help you out. So scoot on over there and get them what they need so that they can all be successful for school. And without a further ado, let's welcome Kim Warren with Align Impact Muscatine. Thank you for coming, Kim.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I have read through this new report that you guys had come out. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so the United Ways of Iowa had the most recent ALICE report come out. And what ALICE stands for is Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed.
Wow.
Right, it's a mouthful. The reason why they call it ALICE is because it helps put a face to that population. So when we talk about ALICE, what we're talking about is families, households, people who are hardworking in our community, but they're not making enough to make ends meet. So, they're just barely scraping by. They're getting by on a survival budget. They're working. They're not as low as poverty, but they are neighbors, people we see every day. So this is the 2018 study that just came out. Is 2016 data.
Okay.
In 2016, the very first study came out for the state of Iowa, and that was 2014 data. But this is a report that states contract with a company that works with United Way to have it done for their local state.
Okay.
It started because there's all this talk about how things have gotten so much better since the recession, and why are nonprofits and other organizations constantly asking for more money? Why are they saying the need's greater? And while a lot of people have rebounded and are better from the recession, there's a very large population that hasn't rebounded, and that population isn't always talked about because they're above poverty, they're working, they don't qualify for assistance, but they're having a hard time. So this really started as a way for nonprofits to be able to better explain why there's this need for funds, even though the economy is rebounding since the recession.
Is this what people refer to as the working poor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, it's another way to talk about the working poor.
So since this is the second time this has been done, it was done in 16, how are we ranking comparatively?
So things have not gotten better over the past 2 years, unfortunately. So in 2014, for Muscatine County, about 33% of the population was either ALICE or poverty. So 13% was poverty and 20% was ALICE, so about a third of the county. Then when you look to 2016, the poverty rate went down a little bit to 12%.
Okay.
So one could make the assumption then that population has probably moved up to ALICE. Because a lot of people in poverty are still working. But now our county is up to 37%.
Wow.
Is ALICE and poverty combined. And then if you just look at the city of Muscatine, we're up to 42% combined.
Oh my
so
goodness.
15% of that is poverty. So these are people who maybe are making your coffee in the morning. These are people that maybe you're buying your lunch from. These are people that you probably sit next to in church. I mean, there are many people in our community. They're your friends and neighbors.
What I always try to think of too when we talk about this group of individuals, the thing that impresses me the most is the stress level of these families, and what must it do to the family to live under the constant stress of, am I going to get enough on my paycheck on Friday to pay what I have to pay? And, the kids have a birthday, and, a kid lost their tooth, and, something that needs to be taken care of. And I can just imagine how their stress level affects them. So perhaps more substance abuse, perhaps more domestic violence, perhaps more teenagers in trouble because both parents are trying to work as hard as they can to make ends meet, and no one's there when they get home from school, and so they're making bad choices, and it seems like it's a snowball.
Yes, and that's why you see more pressure on nonprofit organizations and different government and service providers to try and keep up with all that need. And if anyone's interested in really looking at the report, there's a budget in there for Muscatine County, and the two areas that increased the most from the study 2 years ago is childcare went up hundreds of dollars. So they kind of look at what does it cost for a single person to live, and then what does it cost for a family of 4, there's a preschooler, and there's an infant. That kind of is kind of two classic households that we have, and the childcare went up almost $400 per month over the past couple of years, and the healthcare also went up hundreds. So when you're thinking about people trying to make that up, $400 a month over the course of the year is a lot of money.
Yes, it is. It certainly is, and it seems to me like the families are like, or the community. If you think about the whole community, it's almost like we're trying to help with all of the symptoms, and help the family with the domestic violence and with, the substance abuse and the teen problems and crime, but we're not really targeting the root cause. And that's exactly what Aligned Impact Muscatine is trying to identify, right? Yep,
that's the exact reason why I love my job. So we got a grant from the state a couple years ago to look at bringing the community together and work better together. The technical term in the nonprofit community is collective impact.
There you go.
I could spend a whole hour talking about that, but I'd bore everyone. But basically, it's a framework for collaboration where the community works together and looks at the data, says what's really going on, and really try and find solutions to these issues. One of the groups, we have 4 groups, so we think about it cradle to career. We were one of the more ambitious communities in the state who got this grant.
Big group there.
It's a big pipeline there. And so we have, groups working on everything from early education issues, making sure kids are ready for kindergarten, and then we have more of the top end of the spectrum where I just had a meeting today with the group that talks about adult education and retraining, and we pulled the ALICE data out, and we were looking at it, and we were looking at the ALICE data, and we were looking at what different jobs pay, and we were looking at, what's the state forecasting that our workforce needs are, and we started talking about, okay, what have we done, and then what are the next steps that we need to do, because the different nonprofits that work with this population, they want to find out how do we get those people better educated or trained to be in the jobs where they're outside of this ALICE population. That's really the goal, is to lift people up and out.
Sure.
So they don't need the assistance. So, that's exactly the sort of work we've been doing.
And I just think it's great, this new report, because like you say, these families are typically not counted.
Correct.
We're only looking at people that fit the federal poverty guidelines. And so this is really going a step above that. And in a way, some of the families that I've worked with at the Y, sometimes the families are in a better situation if they make just a little bit less and meet the federal poverty level, because there might be some services that are available for them. But for these people that are in the ALICE range and are working, there's nothing for them, is there?
No, and there's such a larger population than poverty. The vast majority of people want to work hard and want to take care of their family and would rather not be getting assistance, and that's really who we're talking about with this ALICE population.
In the ALICE population, do you see any populations within that population that are higher?
Yes. So when you look at families with children, it's single female headed households have huge poverty and ALICE numbers, so if there's children in the home and it's a single mother, they are far more likely to be struggling financially. If you look by age, households that are 45 years old and up seem to be more, people tend to think as people get older and nearing
so retirement. There's a higher group?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep. So it's, people of color tend to a little bit more have some ALICE and poverty than the white population.
So it's not an even distribution?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
I wonder if we can look at that. Does that tell us anything?
Well, and then a lot of it also comes down to education level.
Sure.
So what level of education do the people have? Because typically the higher education or training, those certification, there are a wealth of those jobs in our community that pay very, very well. Having something post high school you need it in today's society.
I've been to a couple of meetings lately where they've really done a lot of talking about how many people went to college. Back when I was in school, it was a big push. You got to get your bachelor's degree, you got to get your bachelor. But now it almost seems like you have a lot of people with bachelor's degrees that aren't even using them in the job that they're in, and it's done them nothing but give them a bunch of student loan debt to pay back. But yet now they're almost saying, maybe a bachelor's degree isn't for everyone.
Right.
Maybe a welding certificate is, or maybe an apprenticeship with plumbers and pipe fitters is, something like that, instead of everybody just running and getting the bachelor's degree, and then you don't have openings for all of those people.
Right, yeah, it's like anything else. There's never a one fit for everyone. And we need bachelor's degrees, we need nurses, we need engineers, we need all that. But we also need, we need someone who knows plumbing, and we need people who can weld, and we need people who can be technicians to fix the machines at all of our wonderful major companies we have in town. It really takes all the different skill sets to make an economy work well and fill all the workforce needs.
It sure does. So how can people find the ALICE report and really drill down to some of the information that it's in?
Sure. So if they want a quick snapshot of what's going on, they can go to the website. I believe it was UnitedWayAlice.org.
Okay.
I know you guys had it up not too long ago. The full report PDF, if you want to read footnotes and you want to know where every single piece of data came from, on Aligned Impact Muscatine's homepage, if you go to the community data section, there's a link right there on the homepage to get to the ALICE report, and you can see the full thing. You can see every county. You can look at how they calculated the budget. If you're into the nitty gritty and love the data as much as I do, that's what you want to check out.
And I think the fact that is it just United Ways in Iowa that did this? So
Iowa is one of, I think there's more than a dozen states now that have done this.
But I think this is going to be, as someone who, my day job's at the Y, and so we're writing grants all the time.
Yes.
I think this is going to be a huge tool that the other nonprofit organizations in the community can use as they are seeking funding for some of the programs that they're using for families. So this is going to be a big resource to the entire community, as well as answering some of those questions.
Yes, exactly.
Why is it not getting any better? Because I hear on the news that the unemployment rate is low. So why do you need more money? So this explains that.
Yes.
This explains why we need more money.
This explains that, and explains why you see those school supply drives going on, and why you see the community baby shower and all those other little programs that United Way is constantly doing. Thanksgiving in July, the freezing for corn. It's because there is so much need out there, and if you look at what the survival budget is for an ALICE family, they're not able to save money, let alone have extra cushion this time of year as they're getting ready to send their kids back to school.
And the Christmas basket program through Salvation Army. I mean, every year they need more and more money just to sustain that program. And that, you're right, that's why there's no extra to cover things like that. There's barely enough just to make do. And the food pantry, it has record numbers. Nobody wants to go to the food pantry. I mean, these people aren't going there just because they want to go get free food. And that's what I really love about our community. Those services that are out there that you don't have to jump through a million hoops and prove that you really need this service. The Kids First Fund is a prime example. I love the Kids First Fund, and I'm always sending families there, because families that are Alice families, they don't have the extra money to buy soccer shoes or to buy, whatever they need for their child to go to camp or to be engaged in baseball or what have you, but they can go to United Way and talk to them about the Kids First Fund, and the Kids First Fund will help them get those supplies that they need for their children. And the last thing that these families need is a whole laundry list of, you got to show the last 3 paycheck stubs, and you got to show your rent receipt and your electric bill and all. They don't need that added stress on them. Nobody's going to go there. I mean, I suppose you might have one person go to the food pantry that really doesn't need it, but
right. I mean, in all the years at United Way for the Kids First Fund, I can think of one time someone called and I thought, I wonder. And I mean, one time in 7 years, people do not like asking unless they need it.
And they don't need that extra stress on them. And if there was one family who said, I'm not going to deal with that, so then they don't even go get it, and then their child doesn't get to play soccer, that wouldn't be worth it.
Yes,
if one family
we want to keep those students engaged.
Yes, and being in all the programs that every youth should be able to be in if they want to. So I love programs like that they don't have to sign over their firstborn son.
No, we make it pretty easy.
That's right, and that's what I think our whole community wants for people. Is there anything else that you think that the folks at home need to know about the Alice data?
I just want people to think about, as they go through their day tomorrow, maybe look around and think about, 42% of people living in Muscatine. Who are you running into? Who could use that extra smile, that extra nicety when they're probably doing a service job for you or something? And then also think about, what role can you play in helping make our community better? Because we all have a role in it.
Back to what you and I were talking about before the show started, everybody's going through something. So let's give that extra smile. I love hearing about people paying it forward and buying somebody's coffee or the McDonald's at the row behind them. I mean, those kinds of nice things that we can do for one another. It's got to just let up a little bit of stress for them. Yep. All right, if they have any questions, can they get a hold of you, Kim?
Yep. You can call me at the United Way office, 563-263-5963, and I'd be happy to talk with you.
All right, and hopefully we can use this data to come up with some solutions. Wouldn't that be?
That would be wonderful.
The cherry on top.
Yep.
All right, thank you so much for coming, Kim.
Thanks for
And if
having
something else comes up, give us a holler and we'll have you come back on.
All right, great.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you. Well, as we get ready to transition to our next guest, I just want to talk to you about the Muscatine Symphony Orchestra Trivia Night that's going to be on Saturday, August 18th. I think we have a flyer we can put up on that. And I know the Symphony Orchestra, you all love it. I'm sure you do. Well, this is a trivia night, and it's going to be at the Rendezvous, August 18th from 7 to 10. Get your table together. They're looking for tables of 8, and all the benefits and proceeds go to supporting our local symphony orchestra. Awesome organization. We all love it, and we know that you would want to support that if you could. So get your group together and get on over there. Next, I'd just like to share with you this coming weekend, Saturday, August 11th, is Second Saturday. Teachers, they're doing a call out for teachers. This Thursday, so day after tomorrow, is the cutoff to get signed up for $50. You'll get $50 just for spending 10 minutes in the dunk tank on August 11th, our second Saturday. Call or text Tammy at 563-272-8951 to get signed up. There's only a few spots left, and they really are looking for teachers. So they're also giving away $500 in school supplies to teachers while the supplies last, all at Second Saturday this coming August 11th, this coming Saturday. I was saying that wrong, and I had to stop and think about it for a minute. So you saw the pictures of the dunk tank. Come on, 10 minutes. We can all do 10 minutes. I've done it before, but I won't do it again. But I would, I suppose, if I needed to. Anyway, last thing I'd wanted to just touch base with you on is August 13th. They're doing corn freezing at MCSA. Monsanto has very generously donated sweet corn, and volunteers are needed to freeze it for the Muscatine Community Food Pantry. All the corn that they freeze and bag is going to go to the food pantry and be able to be distributed to families all year long. All the equipment is donated by SNAP funds and Iowa State Extension Master Gardeners mini grants. So Monday, August 13th from 8 to 1 at MCSA, lower level in the kitchen. Give a call to Nicole Sorgenfry at United Way, 263-5963 if you can volunteer. And thank you to everybody associated with that program. What a wonderful program. And thank you to Monsanto for donating all that corn. Without further ado, I would like you to join me in welcoming Judy Yates. Judy is the Domestic Violence Coordinator.
That's right.
For the Domestic Violence Shelter at MCSA.
Yes.
Is that right? Did I get your title right?
You did.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming, Judy. You've been at the Domestic Violence Shelter for, oh my goodness,
a long time.
20-some years?
A little over 21 years.
Yes.
Yeah, from the start. So,
yep.
The start of our staffed shelter.
Sure. Because I actually worked for Family Resources back in the day when it wasn't a staffed shelter. We had a room in Hotel Muscatine, and we took folks over there and signed them in. And then we had a little apartment behind Trinity Episcopal Church.
Little 1.5 bedroom apartment.
And then we took them over there, but it wasn't staffed.
No,
so we had
dark.
alarms on it, but there was no one there. But then we were able to get a nice facility where we have 24/7 staff, and isn't that a better situation?
Oh, it's so much better for our clients. It really
it's gotta
is.
be.
They feel so much safer there.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I remember back helping people get situated in the shelter back before it was staffed, and that was always a fear.
Yeah. You know, it was kind of like, here's some towels, here's your bedding. Somebody will come check on you in the morning or on Monday morning.
That was
and
it.
they kind of looked at you like deer in the headlights.
Are you
kind of
kidding
like, really? Yeah, it was very scary.
Yes.
When I started, they still used that shelter, and they were in the process of raising the funds for our shelter that we have now. And thanks to Muscatine and the community, we're very fortunate that we still have our shelter.
We sure are, because it used to be ran through Family Resources.
It did.
And what has it been about 5? Has it been 5 years?
A little over 4 years.
Oh my goodness.
Due to no fault of theirs,
Sure.
just due to
funding structures.
They had to make some very difficult decisions, and they decided that they were going to close our shelter. And there was a big community meeting, and the community kind of heard that we were going to be closing the doors, and they said, no, it's not going to happen in our town.
I love it.
And they raised the money to keep us open for 2 years, and we are now, February was our 4th year to be kind of community ran, supported, and based.
Isn't that amazing?
It really is.
And you know, I have to give some credit to Dick Stanley again. This was another place that he stepped up and said, we're not going to do this, and he did everything he could, and he had put together a nice team.
Yeah.
I know Susan Corey was on the team. I shouldn't even start naming names because I'll forget somebody. But I know there was a core group of people that worked very hard.
They were very passionate about making sure that we had a shelter and a safe place for women and children to go.
Yeah.
And now with the way funding has changed, a lot of shelters in Iowa have closed. Burlington shelter is closed. Clinton shelter is closed. So, the fact that our doors are open and that the community supports us with new beginnings and just everything from the church group to the kids that are selling lemonade and wanting to donate their money, and it's amazing the community that we have. It really is.
It is. Every time. I mean, I'm almost every week on this show, we have people coming and telling about the wonderful things that people have stepped up in
Yeah.
our community to help with. And we have such a generous giving community.
Yeah. And if we didn't have our shelter, what that would mean for the women and children, and they would have to leave our area to go to another town further away if there was even openings in those shelters.
Drag the kids out of school.
Out of school.
So now uproot them a little bit
Lose
more.
their jobs, lose their church, their family, their friends, their
Do they have
support system.
transportation? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And completely starting over again. And that's what we are trying to minimize by keeping them here and letting them have that support system that they are used to, or to build on that support system.
I've always loved that about MCSA and how the children that are at MCSA temporarily can still go to their same school.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're not in your home anymore, and now don't make me change schools and have new
Right.
friends too. You know, let's try to keep their
Yeah.
lives as normal as we
Yeah,
possibly
they need the
can.
routine, and everything is
Absolutely.
uprooted and changed.
Yes.
And the school system works with us. Muscabus gives us free bus
Yes.
tickets for our women to get to work or to get to doctor's appointments. The school buses will reroute. They don't have to chance for schools and go in the area. Our shelter is at a confidential location, so even though we are with MCSA, we are not. We do not house women and children that are in domestic violence or rape, sexual assault situations out of MCSA. And I think
Right.
sometimes people are kind of confused about that.
I think so too.
Since we're under MCSA now, I think
Sure.
they think that that's where we house, but we have a separate location that is it's a very large, beautiful home
Sure.
that is very homey inside, and the clients feel very safe there. And it's in a residential area that we blend in like everybody else in
Yeah.
the neighborhood. And the buses will pull right up, and the kids can go out, and we look like a house. I mean, the kids
Yes.
would not even have to be embarrassed to say, "I live at a shelter," because other kids on the bus would not even know that.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've been inside, and I can tell you it's just like any other house, and
it really is.
and it's that's so meaningful, because then the kids feel better
They do.
about it. They don't even have to know, you know. And isn't that what we want to do? Is protect
Yeah.
them? That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Them and their mother. Yes.
Um,
So, numbers wise, how are we doing with domestic violence? Are we doing better? Are there more victims? Are there less victims? Are we about the same?
Well, you know, we always want to work ourselves out of a job.
Oh,
and
you
I
betcha.
wish that, you know, we didn't need our
Yes.
shelter. But
Yes.
due to the dynamics of domestic violence, rape, sexual assault, you know, and that can involve, you know, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse. Due to that, we do realize that women and children have to leave other states or other counties to come to our shelter.
Sure.
So we do house people from other states and from other counties if they're fleeing for safety reasons. Last year we served 69 women and children, and that was
Okay.
39 women and 30 children.
Okay.
This year to date, we are already almost at we've served 25 women and 17 children, so already, and it's only the beginning of August, we are already almost at the numbers that we were last year for the
Wow.
end of the year. So I wouldn't say that it's going down at all.
Sure.
I think that the fact that people now know that they can stay in their community is helping, and that they're not having to go to other shelters. And of course, we do get calls from other counties and stuff. Davenport, Iowa City, their shelters are full most of the time, or they don't feel safe staying in that area.
Sure, sure. Now, do you work with the victims, the mothers that are staying there at your shelter, and try to help them develop plans?
Yep, we have a crisis line that rings into our shelter. It's answered 24 hours a day by trained staff or volunteers. We do run on kind of bare bones for our budget, so there's only one staff person there at a time. But people can call our crisis line. We get people that call our crisis line just looking for resources in the community, and it might be, you know, my food stamps are gone, and where can I feed my kids, or where can I get a meal, and we refer them to Jesus Mission or to the food pantry. Sometimes people are just looking for for resources. Other times they're calling and they just need validation. You know, he shoved me, but he's never really hit me. So, you know, is that okay? They just kind of need validation. Is that domestic violence? Or they may be just directly calling for shelter.
Sure.
We go over safety planning with our clients when they call on the phone. And then if they do need shelter and they come into shelter, we do meet with them. We do safety planning. We assess what their needs are. And then they are required to meet with myself or one of our other counselors once a week to set some goals and to help them work through those goals.
So they can move forward.
They can move forward. And it might be, for some people, it might be just to get out of bed that day and just to, you know, go take a shower. Other ones, it might be they need replacement birth certificates and social security cards because maybe they were destroyed in an argument. And we know that you need those things to get, you know, public housing or, you know, to get signed up for employment, food stamps. You need those kinds of documents. We also help with job searches, apartment searches. We help with SPDAT paperwork to refer for housing. Recently, we've helped a couple of clients get a couple of new tires for her car so she didn't miss work. We helped another woman with a battery. Her car wouldn't start so that she wouldn't lose her job and she could get to and from work. So those are the kinds of things that our New Beginnings helps with from our fundraiser.
I was going to say, New Beginnings, that I've went for years and years. A big fundraiser that you do every year. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And what are some of the things that New Beginnings helps them with?
We help with getting replacement birth certificates. Those cost. So birth certificates, tires. We do sometimes help with deposits and first month's rent.
Because that costs a lot to get a new place.
Absolutely. You know, and even though all of our services are free and confidential, while they're staying with us, they maybe are just seeking employment, or they, you know, haven't came with, you know, a lot of women and children come with absolutely nothing.
Oh, I bet.
And we provide everything for them, all their personal needs, food, washer and dryer, laundry, soap, a whole attic full of clothes, so that if they come with no clothes, we provide all those things for them.
Many times I imagine they're used as leverage by the offender. Trying to control them.
Because that's what domestic violence is. It's all about power and control. And something that's kind of interesting that you made me think of is we don't do pet fostering, but have you heard about the pet fostering for MCSA and for us? That is a huge tactic that offenders use. And excuse me if I say she or her. We do know that there are male victims. We do not shelter male victims at our shelter, but we do refer them to MCSA or to other agencies for hotels or things like that. So primarily domestic violence is a women's crime. So one tactic that offenders will use a lot is harming the pet or threatening to harm the pet. And a lot of women will not leave because they were never able to bring their pet with them. Now they can come with their pet. And even though we don't get to have the pet in the home, we have somebody in town that is pet fostering and will come to the shelter and pick up the pet and keep it for them, feed it, no cost, get them shots if they need it, spayed or neutered, and we'll actually set up play dates for them and the kids to come meet her and to play with their pet.
Isn't that just amazing?
It makes a big difference. I know I wouldn't want to leave my house if I had to leave my fur babies behind. So.
And once again, leverage. Well, you know, you're not going to get them. You know.
So. And our shelter is, it's a huge house. I tell everybody I get to leave my small little house every day and I get to go to work in a really nice big house. Like I said, we blend into the neighborhood. We plant flowers in the summertime. We put up Christmas lights in the winter. Unless you knew where it was at, you would never know that we were the domestic violence shelter. It's a 4-bedroom home with 3 bathrooms. One of our bedrooms is handicap accessible. So if we do have somebody that is in a wheelchair, elderly, or has been assaulted and has, you know, like a broken leg or something, and they're unable to do stairs, we are able to put them in the handicap room. And then it's a community kitchen and living room and dining room, and you know, some clients make meals together and bond, and other ones just kind of go about their business and work on their goals themselves.
And that's okay.
And that's perfectly fine. We just want them to be educated and feel empowered while they're there so that they can work on their self-esteem and they can move forward in making some healthy and positive decisions for them and their children.
Because they've got a long road ahead of them.
They do. And having somebody that believes them and that supports them and is there for them is wonderful. And we do a lot of referrals in the community. You know, Robert Young for mental health, New Horizons for substance abuse, you know, City Housing we work closely with. Kim is on a lot of committee and that you had earlier, is on a lot of meetings and things that I attend. So it's a collaboration of everybody working together.
Our community, once again, I mean, New Beginnings, you can see how many people that we have that are caring and want to help people.
We have our first meeting for next year's
New
Beginnings
goodness.
This coming Monday.
Yes.
So we are already starting.
Yeah.
And just to throw a shout out there, last year it sold out.
Oh, yes.
So it is limited seating, unfortunately. We can only put so many people in so many baskets and gifts and things in the room. So if you've never been, we encourage you to think about attending. It's in April every year, and it's really a wonderful evening.
It is. How else can people help? So they, besides coming to the New Beginnings and donating and buying baskets, and what else can people do?
I think, you know, first of all, if you have somebody in your family or friend that is sharing that they might or think that they're in a domestic violence situation, let them know that there's a local agency that they can call to talk to somebody and help them process that. Believe them. Average woman leaves 7 to 10 times before she leaves for good, and a lot of times family and friends become kind of fed up with that and say, you know, I've helped you for the last time, I'm washing my hands of that.
If you go back, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's really important that they know that even if they do go back for whatever reason, we don't walk in their shoes, that if they do need to leave again, that they feel that they still have that support. People can donate things to us. We don't charge anything for our services, and women can stay there up to 90 days. That's 3 months. We provide food. You know, we need toothbrushes and towels and sheets and
laundry soap,
diapers, wet wipes. You know, some of them don't have their food stamps yet. You can't buy laundry soap or diapers or wet wipes with food stamps. We use the same things in the shelter that we use in our homes every day. Aluminum foil, baggies, you know, all those things, feminine products, cleaning supplies. So if somebody, you know, doesn't want to come to New Beginnings, but if they go out and they say, oh, I could buy an extra jug of laundry soap, take it to MCSA and let them know that it's for the domestic violence shelter. They'll call me or one of the staff, and we'll stop by and we'll get it, and we'll make sure that it goes over to our shelter. Gift cards, a lot of people don't like to do that, but knowing what we use the gift cards for, if a woman gets a job and she needs a pair of black dress pants, because that's what their uniform is, we can take her out to Walmart and we can get her a black pair of dress pants. Hy-Vee gift cards we can use for gas. If she has a car but she doesn't get paid, you know, for 2 weeks, we can help her with gas. You know, getting prescriptions filled at Walmart or at Hy-Vee, help with their co-pays until they, you know, their insurance kicks in. So it's those kinds of things. We always need socks, underwear, bras, pajamas, all things like that we will take that are gently used even.
I'm seeing garbage bags even. You wouldn't think of that. Kleenex.
They're expensive. I mean, you know, and we provide them for the whole house. So, you know, we're trying to keep our doors open so that we can empower the women and children and keep them safe. So if we're having to run out and buy garbage bags and Kleenexes and all those things, you know, they're important and we need them to just run day-to-day operations. So yeah, same things that you use in your house. Toilet paper. House full of women and children. We go through a lot of toilet paper.
I bet you do. And you know, if the community can step forward and donate some of these items, then the funds that you are able to raise, you can use for staff time.
Absolutely.
So that we can keep that staff 24 hours a day and keep them the women and children safe.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm available if, if there's a church group or, a women's group or some kind of organization that would like to have me or one of the staff come and talk to them about what we do, how we get referrals, how to contact us, what kind of things we need. Have them call MCSA and leave a message for me, and I will get back to them, and I'll be more than happy to set something up.
That sounds great. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the folks at home before we?
No, just if hopefully we can bring up the crisis line number.
Oh,
the
yes.
563.
Can we do that, Ryan? So 263-8080, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
They can get someone on the phone that can answer questions, that can help them, that can steer them the right place. And that goes right directly to an advocate. Right
to our shelter.
Right
that rings directly into the shelter.
Very
and somebody
good.
there can help them with whatever it is that they're requesting.
Very good. Well, thank you so much,
Thank you
Judy.
for having us.
Thanks for all you do. And you've been doing it for such a long time that it's, I always think that longevity means a great deal to the people that we serve, because you are a wealth of knowledge of what's in the community, how to do referrals, and you can answer their questions so much quicker than if we have high turnover and you got to spend your time learning all this stuff. So,
well, and all of our
thanks
staff.
for staying.
Thank you. All of our staff came from Family Resources and stayed on. So, we have
the commitment level. Is high.
All of our staff have 17, 15, 13 years.
Wow.
So they
Says
believe
a lot.
It does. They believe in what they're doing.
Yep. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. I just want to finish out the night with just a couple of quick things. August 9th, I'll be out at All Steel working on a fundraiser for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. August 25th, save the date, will be the next Coffee with the Mayor. And you should see just a little flyer on that here to remind you for that. And next Tuesday, our guests here for our city are Kathy Anderson-Knoll with the Muscatine County Community Services and Alicia Eggers with the Muscatine Community School District Food Program. She's going to tell everybody everything we need to know about free and reduced lunches, about the food and nutrition stuff, because school's going to be here before we know it, August 23rd. We have no city council meeting this Thursday. Typically, we have a council meeting the first and third Thursday of each month, and the second Thursday is what we call an in-depth meeting, more of a presentation type situation, but in August we don't have one of those. That's the 1 month of the year. So no meeting this Thursday, and we'd like to end the evening with some pictures of the library that they took recently. If you have not had a chance to get out to the new library, you just really need to do that. It is an amazing facility. We have conference rooms on there. Kim Warren was just saying that she has a meeting there tomorrow. She went online, reserved a room. And how nice to be able to have a meeting and be able to access it so easily by just, a couple of clicks and there you go. And they're beautiful rooms. Very nice, open, spacious, all different sizes. So if you just have 3 or 4 people in your team, something you're meeting about, you can meet something like this. If you have a big, larger group, you can meet in something like this. And so just a wide variety, and it really is for the community to use. So please don't hesitate to reach out to the library and reserve your rooms for your community meetings. And I think you'll really be glad that you did, because it is such a good environment, plenty of parking. It's a good idea. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight, August 7th of 2018. We hope to see you back here next week in the mayor's office at the Muscatine City Hall. Thanks again and have a lovely week.
Our City with Mayor Diana Broderson replays on MPW Channel 9, Wednesday at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. and Thursday at 7 a.m. Of course, we're live every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. on Facebook. Email us at ourcity@muscatineiowa.gov.